Welcome into the latest edition of Extra Time. Got Craig, Burley, Stevie Nicol, Nedum Onuoha. Craig probably can't hear anything right now, but don't worry, you don't need to. No. Not on this edition.
I can't hear what you said.
End of the show now.
Sorry? No, what? End of the show?
What we did hear, though, is when Craig arrived tonight, Nedum, is that Stevie's troubles continue with his password on his PC.
Nearly there.
Nearly there.
Aye.
Never have the IT folks at this company been so frustrated with an individual.
The best...
Despondent after...
What the best is the guy said to him, oh, no, it's no bother at all. And Stevie said that by the end of it, he thinks the guy was getting annoyed at him, the IT guy.
I said to him to begin with, I said, look, I am completely computer illiterate. I said, so I'm just telling you before we start. And he was all happy and giggly and don't worry, I'll get you through it. Hey, half an hour later, just a little change in tone in his voice. I was like, oh, he's had enough.
I mean, he didn't even know how to restart his computer, so I had to help him with that.
Wednesday, when we come in Wednesday, he was bashing away at it then, but he had to give up because we were coming to the show.
Stevie, do you think working your way up through levels from lower league air to top flight Liverpool made you a better, more rounded player than mollycoddled academy golden boys like Craig and Nedum?
I mean, as far as the football's concerned, I would say it was probably more to do with what was going on in the rest of the world, being able to go through different stages and learn about actually living the way normal people do. At the time, most people got the bus and all these kind of things. Whereas today, if you look at the kids now, from the ages of, 9, they're kind of full-time at some of these clubs. And so their life's just about training, getting mum and dad to take them home, bring them back again. And they kind of grow up in a world that's not a real world, unless you're going to be in it for the rest of your life. I mean, can you imagine being 9 all the way through to 17 when the full-time contracts are being given out, and you've done nothing other than train and travel with your mum and dad back and forward, and all of a sudden you're on the scrap heap, and they wonder why these young kids are completely lost and take the wrong path. So yeah, absolutely, I'm glad my path was the way it was.
I would imagine now they don't clean the dressing room. I would imagine now they don't clean the toilets, clean the players' boots, put the kit out for all the players at training every day, paint the stadium. So things we had to do. Run for the last tube after a midweek evening game because you were doing all those jobs and one of your mates hadn't done it properly and none of the team could leave until all the jobs were done. And the last tube to North London from Fulham Broadway was leaving at 12 p.m. and this is 11:45.
Like a metro line of train.
Yeah, underground. All those things, to get to your digs with your family that's an hour away. Oh, and you got to pay for that, and you're on YTS, Youth Training Scheme, £28 a week we got. Just over £100 a month, living in London. I'll give you mollycoddled. By the way, it was fun though. It was great fun, great camaraderie. But as Stevie said, it made you want to be a professional. When you were in that position, it made you want to take that next step. Because it was so tough. Nowadays, what do they get? The youngsters probably get 10 grand a week. They probably get them a Porsche or a Ferrari or some sort of fancy car and an apartment. You know what I mean? So and sometimes the desire from that. Sometimes it can be detrimental from a desire perspective. From a technical aspect, it's much improved. And you don't have to do all those side things, but the apprentices in the 80s, probably the 90s, that was an education. Let's put it that way.
Nedum, you're the youngest ex-player on the panel tonight. What was your experience like?
It wasn't as bad as Craig's. It was kind of switching a little bit when I was first coming through. So the emphasis on cleaning boots and it wasn't that big a deal anymore. And in some ways, some of those things you mentioned, I'm glad that people don't have to do that anymore because there are other ways to sort of deliver that message. But what I would say is that based on when I was first coming through, I was filthy rich. I got paid £80 a week, not that measly 28 that Craig had in London, ridiculous. But what I would say is that from back then, it was always the sort of battle because you knew you hadn't made it. Like, even if you play for the first team, you're still having to do the commute, still having to get the buses to the training ground, get the tube to wherever. Whereas these days, I feel like with some of the youngsters, financially they've made it before they've actually had a career. So as a consequence, their view on football is probably different to the way that, say, ours was when we were younger. But it's not to say that's necessarily a bad thing. Things have changed. But yeah, my academy setup wasn't brilliant. And even still, like, I was taking a bus all the way until I was 17, 18 years of age. And then when I finally got my first car, I was in a VW Polo. Just imagine that, rocking up to a Premier League stadium for a game day. I was a laughingstock, so ultimately, I might have been a golden boy, but, you know, I didn't live that life until much later, let's just say that.
His seat must have been pushed all the way as back as it could. He'd be like sitting in the back seat like that, trying to hold on to the steering wheel.
I tell you what, it was a great way to learn London, though. You know, travelling, I've told you this, you know, figured it out, a walk from Cricklewood, Childs Hill down to Golders Green, Northern Line to Edgware, bus to Harrow-on-the-Hill, bus from Harrow-on-the-Hill, you grabbed the Heathrow bus, Heathrow bus from Harrow-on-the-Hill, it stopped at Hayes and Harlington, a couple of miles before Heathrow, because that's where the training ground was, and a mile walk to the training ground.
You know,
the London tour guide.
But we didn't have to do that on the way back. Do you know why? Because we weren't allowed to go back after training. We had to put all the dirty training kit in this crappy old minibus. Eddie Nizveski, who was the youth team coach, would drive it back to Stamford Bridge because there was no facilities to wash the kit at the training ground. That's how bad it was. And we'd all bowl back, stop at the little shop. Boys would go in. I have to say, some people would take, not me, some people would come out with some goodies and hadn't paid for them. Not good.
I didn't realise that.
Not me. Some of the apprentices would go in, come out with chips and everything and be like...
It's Craig's autobiography.
I didn't realise how spoiled I was.
Oh, yeah.
I used to wake up at 9:15, get my gear on, go out the front door, take a right, and by 9:25, I would go to the front door at Anfield.
So, Craig had it hardest. I think that's what we've established.
Well, I didn't think it was hard.
You had it hardest at these three,
I didn't choose where my digs was. That was, you know what I mean?
Great.
I remember Eddie Nizveski driving the minibus. This is how you drive a minibus, by the way. And all the boys were in the back, and he couldn't see out the mirrors. One day we were going into London. We got to Earl's Court, heading back to Stamford Bridge. Eddie was driving, and he could see nothing. All the boys on the back and all the kit. And he shouted, and he was in the middle lane. He shouted, "Can I switch lanes?" And one of the lads went, "Yeah, switch lanes," and back straight into a car. Right. And Eddie was the most nervous man on the planet. And he was on the youth team coach at the time, which is down the ladder. He was out offering to get this guy money on the side of the M4. And he shouted, "Who said I can go?" And the boys on the back laughing. The bus was all crumpled up.
There we go. So none
Good
of you...
fun.
Yeah, exactly. None of you were mollycoddled.
We never
after
had
all.
the proverbial pot, but it was fun. And by the way, there's a lot of boys come through that youth system and went on to play at Chelsea and other clubs. A lot. The youth team won nothing, but there was a lot of boys come through because it was a good grounding.
They came up the hard way. Stevie, how important is it for Liverpool to finish in the Champions League position to safely acquire Bellingham?
He's not going there.
I don't. Listen, if Bellingham wants to go to Liverpool, if they're in 4th or 5th, they'll do it. I really don't think that. And I don't know. I feel as though I'm kind of on my own here, but I don't remember Chelsea struggling to get Conte to come as a manager, in particular, when they never got in the top 4. It just made it easier the following season because they had no European football. So, am I on my own with this?
No, I think the Bellingham situation is unfortunately for Liverpool at the moment, there are several other clubs that you would go to from a football perspective. So, if he does want to go to Liverpool, and that's kind of where his heart is, and I don't know that's the case, but it's kind of been mooted by a couple of people, it's really not going to matter where they finish. No. If his heart's set on going to that club. If it's just football and winning things, then that's more of a worry. You're going to go to City or Real Madrid or whatever it is, Bayern Munich, whatever it is. But if his heart's set on Liverpool, they could probably finish mid-table and he'll go there. So it just depends.
Nedum, have you ever been a soccer coach or trainer Craig is too angry to be a coach.
Who said that?
But you seem like you'd be a solid coach. Do you have any interest? 9 Soccer Mom said that.
Absolutely. No, zero interest. Absolutely zero interest. I enjoy free time, enjoy watching games, talking, doing media, all that stuff, but to be doing that on a day-to-day basis, nah. To have less money for more stress, nah. I understand the value, but no. I can barely keep my kids under control, so how am I going to keep other people under control and try and make them better? It's not for me, that, at all.
Where's this narrative came from, by the way?
What narrative?
Where's this narrative?
That you're angry.
Well, not just that. That's a separate conversation. Right, wait, where's this narrative came from? Chuckle away.
I'm laughing at his reaction.
I'm too angry to be a coach. Because he's had a pop at me a few times over the years. Said it wouldn't happen. I told him I'd change.
An angry coach can be a good coach as well, right?
When last was I angry on this show? See?
What? I can't remember. I know, the other week when we had to talk about a league that you didn't want to talk about. Yeah.
That doesn't count.
The Mexican League.
There definitely has been some anger when there's Cristiano Ronaldo topic recently.
Listen, I would adapt.
See, he already. See, he didn't go like, listen, he went, listen. See, do you feel the anger? You see the anger in his
See, he says I would. Listen. He says I would just walk in the dressing room and start banging heads together. So I disagree. I think I would.
Oh, you would.
All right.
Party's going astray. Shouts of my bad. You'd be.
I tell you what,
You'd be strangling people.
I'm with Nedum though. I mean, you see these people. Roy Hodgson's gone back to Palace, hasn't he? You see these people, and they keep doing it and keep doing it and keep doing it, and you think they've got the money. How did they drive? It's a 7-day-a-week job. It never ends. The phone never stops ringing. Agents and. I mean,
we did see the highest paid manager list yesterday. I think that might be a big pull for some managers.
Yeah, but what happens if you've got 100 million in the bank and you're in your 70s and you've done it all and you know, and in this club, Roy Hodgson, for example, where's the drive to go 7 days a week again?
Do you know, it's not the...
What is it?
It's how you don't... I don't think it's about the drive, because...
Is it boredom?
No, it's... No.
Is it still wanting to be a part of the game?
The bit I don't understand is why would you take on the stress? But people like Roy Hodgson must have some sort of mental capacity that they don't feel the stress. Because you can't do it in his age.
Okay, at his age, but why did you go into management? What's the difference between you and someone
choice. I had nothing else to do. I didn't know what else to do. I didn't have a lot of choice.
He's going into
I can assure you.
And he's going into computers after this.
I'm going into IT.
IT.
Once I get sacked for here. But I can assure you, when you're losing, the stress, and as Craig said, it is the phone goes at 10 in the morning and 10 at night, and there's the stress of losing and losing and losing, and not being able to do anything about it. It's great, you know. It's great having an owner who's got lots of money and you can go and get another player, or you can do this and get this guy and get rid of this guy. But when you can't do anything about it, the stress is unreal. I told you before, I was on blood pressure tablets by the time I got the bullet. And 2 weeks after I got the bullet, I didn't need any. So these guys must have a capacity in their brain that doesn't make them feel the stress. Certainly, I felt it big time. Getting beat every week. Stress was unreal.
Now look at you.
Now look at me.
Picture of health.
Nothing wrong with your eyesight, son.
Don't laugh, Kate.
For all.
What about Don the other week? Don said to him on the show, he went, "You're looking well, Stevie." And everybody went, "What?"
Aw,
see what I mean? Thanks, coach. Thanks for,
listen, it was coach,
thanks for building me up for the game tomorrow. You know it's Friday, right? The game's Saturday.
That was thanks for building me up. You laughed when I said it.
See what I mean?
She giggled.
Just proving my point.
I brought him treats in today. I'm helping him look well.
That's not helping.
All right, for all, how much time does it take for a team like Bayern to absorb and apply coaches' tactics and perform as planned set? As there is just 10 days away from the clash against Man City.
Is that 10 days?
Nedum.
I think it depends how the last manager's left. If there needs to be a fundamental change, then perhaps it'll take longer. But if you're doing it at this stage of the season, you're just looking at little tweaks, and the players are so good already. If you put them into any sort of like simplistic type system, I imagine they'll understand what they need to learn. And it's just piece by piece. And ultimately, the team is so good that, as I say, I don't think you're going to be teaching them the very basics and core skills and stuff like that. So, you know, a good manager left, a good manager comes in, the players remain the same, the drivers the same. It's still Bayern. They might not be at their absolute best, but they're still a very good side, and they could finish the season with a ton of trophies. So I don't think it takes that long as such.
Next question is for you, Nedum. Start, bench or drop, Foxy Lady, Purple Haze and All Along the Watchtower.
What's that?
What is that?
Hendrix
Well, he
songs.
always knows.
Hendrix songs.
Oh, right.
I'd drop Foxy Lady.
He's under pressure. Jimmy's watching him. Look in the background.
I think I'd start. I'll start Purple Haze and bench All Along the Watchtower. I think that's my order. Yeah.
All right.
Good job you explained that. Was you lost as well?
There must be some way out of here, said the Joker to the thief.
What?
Doesn't matter.
There we go.
Last question. For all, who will retire with the most international goals, Messi or Ronaldo?
It's about 20 apart at the moment, give or take. A few. So roughly about 20, give or take. That's my out. Well, bear in mind we're Ronaldo haters this week, apparently. And Messi's still... probably Ronaldo. He's going to hang around then. Martinez hasn't got the stomach to get rid of him, so he'll be hovering around for a while. So.
It's 122 and 102. So, yeah, 20 apart.
That's
yeah.
20,
Yeah.
20.
Ronnie's what, 37?
8.
38. And Messi's 30.
No, he might be 39.
He's 38, isn't he? He's just gone 38.
Is he?
And Messi's 30, 35, 36. So he's got a couple of years left, Messi. A couple of years to score. That is if Ronaldo stops pretty soon.
Who are you going for?
I'm going to go Messi.
Ronaldo hater. What about you, Nedum? Messi or Ronaldo?
I think Ronaldo, and I think, to be honest, I think Messi will probably retire from international football before Ronaldo does. Ronaldo seems like he's still questing for something, whereas Messi's won it. He's done it now, hasn't he? So I wouldn't be surprised if he finishes sooner and Ronaldo's still going in his mid-40s. Call it Tom Brady of football.
Actually, I'm going to change. I'm going to go with Nedum. He's right. See, the thing is, if it had been the other way around, you would definitely say Ronaldo, because there's no way he would stop until he got more. But I think actually Nedum's got me round to his way of thinking.
Kept the
It's a bit
Ronaldo.
like one of his players, isn't it? When he was coaching. Wasn't angry enough, was he?
No.
And that question didn't get you angry, even though it was a Messi versus Ronaldo question?
I don't get angry these days very often.
No. Well, let's go before you do.
Got the weekend to work on.
Thanks so much for sending in your questions. We'll see you again tomorrow to do it all over again.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN Plus.